Hi FlossTube, it's Kim with Kim J Stitches here to bring you my bi-weekly update. I would have taped yesterday, but my 9-year-old nephew is here. Now he did beg me to be on FlossTube. He watched FlossTube. He actually put a sweet comment on one of my really old videos. It was really nice. Steve, come on over here. Steve and I had a fun time. Say hello.
Hello.
Now, Steve went down to our pool. We live in an apartment complex. He went down to the pool with my nephew. I was working Friday. How was that, Steve?
It was hot.
Yeah, the back of his neck is really, really red. His head's a little bit red. But Steve's doing well. Had a good week. Do you think you had a good week, Steve?
Pretty good.
Yeah, so he's doing good. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time on personal today, but we will talk about just a couple of things. But first, I want to say thank you all who tune in every week, every 2 weeks or every month. We just now went. Steve's going to go in the other room, and we're going to have lunch in a little bit. Thank you, Steve. But I want to say thank you. And if you are new here, if you like what you see, please subscribe and like our videos. As I said, I've gone to a 2-week schedule. It'll either be on a Saturday or a Sunday. So 2 weeks from now, I will be taping again. I am having a terrible hair day today. And I have just all kinds of crazy complaints, but I really kind of feel bad. Thank you for your nice notes about my situation with my health. My lymph nodes are still swollen, and I'm having a CT scan on July 24th. But I don't really feel bad still. I still feel pretty good. I just have a horrible backache today. I bought a lumbar support pillow from Target yesterday and thought, ooh, I'll sit on that. It'll help my back. I think it's destroyed my back, especially my lower back. When they told us to stand up in church today, I'm like, please don't. But yeah, of course, if you go to church, you stand when you sing the hymns and stand at the very end. So yeah, that was very painful. I am going to try not to hit our little table a lot today, as I have done in the past. But that's the health update. Just there's not really a lot. I really enjoyed my nephew really got into the cross stitching stuff, and he actually asked me to stitch this for him. I bought this book. He is a Kansas City Royals fan. My other sister, his other aunt, she lives in Kansas City, so he's a big Kansas City Royals fan. So this is an old book. I mean, this book probably came out in the 80s. 88. I bought this, I think, off Stash and Load or something. If I'm not looking in the right place, if you're new here, y'all know that my eyes wander everywhere. I try to look right at the camera, and sometimes I want to look at myself, which I am now. So, see, I bought this, but it had Kansas City Royals. I also have some former... have an old one for the National League, because those are American League teams, if you know anything about baseball. I also have one for the National League, and I'm stitching a couple of things out of that, but they're actually going to be gifts. I stitch on them maybe once a month. I really don't show them on here because they're kind of surprises for people. They're people who may or may not watch FlossTube, but I am not going to show them to them anyway. This crazy laptop. I'm still shooting on my laptop. I'm going to wait till I get a new iPhone, if I do get a new iPhone. So anyway, I do also want to, at the beginning of this video, you're actually going to see one of her patterns. Yesterday we all learned that Priscilla Blaine of Stitching with the Housewives has cancer, and that was very hard for me because I just want to say here, if it wasn't for Priscilla, I may not be cross-stitching anymore. Some of you who've been with me know I went to a retreat 6 years ago and just felt really out of place. I'm not someone who stitches large patterns. At the time, I didn't use a lot of fancy flosses. I mean, honestly, all I knew about stitching when I went was, your basic Aida fabric and maybe some linen and your DMC. Felt very out of place, and I came home and I was just feeling discouraged and thought, I'm just going to give up cross-stitching. And I found one of Priscilla's videos, and the way she finished, and we all know that she finishes beautifully, the way she finished her patterns, because you'll notice, stitch more smalls than larger patterns. One Nation is a huge exception, and probably I doubt I'll do anything that big ever again. I have a couple of Heaven and Earth designs in my stash. I don't know if I'll ever finish them. Don't even know right now when I'm going to start them. But if it wasn't for Priscilla and her beautiful patterns, and I stitch a lot of her patterns, and I don't think there is a video probably that I've ever done that doesn't have something with stitching with the Housewives in it. So as Priscilla walks this journey, and if you haven't watched the video where she talks about her health, I'm going to link it below. Just go and watch it. It's been hard for me to talk about it without getting a little bit teary-eyed. Like I said, because I really do feel like she's had a big influence on the industry. definitely she's taught me how to finish things differently. And where I felt like at times people kind of shunned people who might have put glue on a cross stitch project to finish it or didn't put it under glass, she taught me that's okay. And I'll tell you what my philosophy is. I have at least 50 projects that are out in our apartment. There are things that I have actually finished and they're on display. Plus, I have a whole bunch of seasonal things in boxes, and I have a whole bunch of things that have to be fully finished. And I don't think that our three children are going to want to take all that stuff, and it may end up at Goodwill. But there was, I think I mentioned this on a previous FlossTube. Someone had an idea of having a table when someone passes away at their funeral that says if you want any of their designs, take them home. So that is something I have told my son or my husband or whoever's going to be around that when I pass away, whatever y'all don't want, which will probably be a lot of it because there's so much, put it on the table outside the funeral, and if anybody wants to take it home, they can, and the rest of it, whatever you want to do with it. I cross stitch and I fully finish and I collect because I enjoy it. I don't have any qualms about what's going to happen with it. I'm not even going to know if my son, which he won't, but he already has a lot of things for me. But if he was to take the whole box of stuff and take it to Goodwill, I wouldn't know, and I wouldn't come back and haunt him. Oops, I hit the table, or be mad at him. But yeah, it's because of Priscilla that I have fully finished so many things. And I enjoy full finishing. I'm not a sewer. Do have a sewing machine and I'm learning. Well, I'm going to learn. I haven't picked it. I'm still in the box. But it's because of her. So again, all of my prayers, good thoughts, and I know that a lot of you are, and I will link that video below. So let's get to my stitching for the week. And I said I wasn't going to talk long about things that weren't well, they are stitching related, and we're 7 minutes into the video. So in 2 weeks, I've done quite a bit. I have 2 finishes, a full finish, some starts, and a few whips. So I have 10 projects, and that's huge for me. When I watch Laura with Stitching by the Shore, and she does 12 projects in a week, I'm like, wow. And I'm kind of wowing at myself at having 10 in 2 weeks. Let's start with my full finish. You saw this in my last video. It's from Darling Whimsy Designs. This is called Quirky Quaker Flamingo. These little frames are like 4 inches they're perfect for a 4-inch round. You can get these at Hobby Lobby, and they have a lot of different kinds. I have a turkey. I'm in the guest room, and the guest room has a huge shelf that has a lot of my previous finishes on them, some that are seasonal, some that I just don't want to have out now. And I have a turkey for Thanksgiving that I finished on one of these frames. It looks a lot different. So yeah, this is, and I stitched it on 28 count Scotsman from Be Stitch Me. I had the call for salamander, and I used goldfish by, oh gosh, why can't I think of it? It's goldfish. It's the main thing. See, this is the thing about being 58 years old. Your brain doesn't always work. Oh, but it's goldfish is the name of the thread, and you know it's going to come to me. It's the main one. It's the main one, and I probably have a sample of it somewhere here in my stash if I would just look. Okay, I'll tell you the fabric person. Who has that floss? I could just look right here. Well, no, I can't. Oh, Classic Colorworks. There we go. Classic Colorworks. Anyway, I just finished it in this little frame, and it sits in here in the guest room. There's a big dresser over there. I kind of moved to the side. I don't think you've seen this side. I have a cross-stitch piece there with some butter. I bought those butterflies for $5 at Macy's, and they're Macy's, some kind of discount outlet that they have in the back of the Macy's when I was in Nashville with my son. So yeah, that was a really good deal. So loved it. All right, my other finish, and I forgot to bring my board in here. That's great. This is for my patriotic, and it's also my cross stitch camp project. This is called Liberty and Love. It is by Primrose Cottage. Again, this is one of my 13 for the 250th that I'm doing. I am not sure how I'm going to finish it. The model is finished in a pillow. I may do some rounds because I have several projects in my 13th for the Sal that are rounds. And I may just make a lot of patriotic rounds and have a patriotic tree coming up next year before the 250th. So that's, this is stitched on 28 count Be Stitch Me. It's called Wintry Mix, and I think it's Wintry Mix, but I love this. Love, love, love. And I want to stitch a lot of things on this fabric. And actually, my other full finish was on that fabric. This was my camp piece from June. So I've got my July camp piece finished. And I've already finished my camp piece for June. This is the thread, the Night Garden palette from Threadworks, and it's Forget Me Nots from Ink Circles. It was my first Ink Circles pattern. I loved it. I love stitching this. It's called Forget Me Nots. And again, it's on that same 28 count using the Night Garden thread palette. I love those threads from Threadworks. Love, love, love them. And I finished this right in time. Camp ended like July 1st, and I finished it on June 30th, probably at like 10 o'clock. That's why I did something smaller for my camp piece for July, because I was like, this was a bit involved, and I always stitch on other things. But I love all the variegation, and that elephant, if you could see that, I just loved everything about it. So those were my 3 finishes for the week, and now I have some starts. 2 of them are a restart, basically, and 2 of them, there's a story behind 2 of them. There's always a story, isn't there? So I had started Abigail Adams by Blackbird Designs, and a lot of people have stitched this. I had started it on some gray fabric because I thought that was the colorway I wanted. I didn't, and I really hated it. So I ordered some 32 count Picture This Plus Legacy, and I have restarted it. Now I'm using the DMC except for the red, because I did not have the silks. And except for this red, and I played around with a lot of reds, and I decided to go with some Turkish red from Weeks Dye Works. And I think those colors are beautiful. I think you could see them pretty well. And that's the start. I stitched on this July 4th and 5th. No, July 4th and 5th. I actually worked July 4th. So I may have started earlier, worked a day later on it. That is also one of my patriotics. That is for the 13th for the 250th Sal. Now, I also restarted. This is a Gobble couple. This is Gloria and Julius Gobble Free. And I think I showed this when I showed you all the patriotic things. I had already started this, but I wasn't happy with the red. And I realized the fabric that I was using, the white, was not going to show up. So I went into, I subscribed to Grace Notes Fabrics. This is a hazelnut cream. It's a 28 count Lugana, and I decided to start over. And I'm using I've made some changes in those colors too. I don't have them with me, but I will tell you what they are. But I am using just the white. So I was like, okay, I'm going to start over. And I started over on one side and made a mistake. So I have this habit, if I have a really big piece of fabric, and look, isn't this hazelnut cream just gorgeous? I don't know if it's really showing up true to color. So what I did, I started over, and it was just one of those nights where you really want to stitch, but maybe the stitching gods are not in your favor because it's just not. So all I did was I got this hat, which is the top of her hat here. Started stitching the top of her hat. There's a mistake in it. That's all got to be frogged, y'all. So I was kind of like, oh well. So that's going to be frogged. So basically it's not even a restart because it's got to be frogged. But I did work on it, spent some time that night. Well, let's talk about another night where I had some issues. I did the Redbird sampler. In fact, I'm doing this on the same fabric. This is Color and Cotton 32 count aged paper. And this is the Redbird sampler right here. And I was going to start the Bluebird sampler down below, realized I wasn't going to have enough room to frame. So I started it. There's not a mistake in that. Except for the fact that I would not be able to fully finish it because it's not leaving enough room. So I basically flipped it over and remeasured. And then by the time I did that, after I had stitched several letters down there, this was all that I did. So this is Bluebird Sampler. I am doing it in the called for color. I think that's Chesapeake Bay Blue. Chesapeake Bay. And it is from Classic Colorworks. I love these samplers. And I'm going to get, I think she has a Cuckoo Bird sampler. And she has Hummingbird. And I'm probably going to get those too. So this is all I got. But hey, it's a start. I got some. So some done and we're all good. I'm just throwing things here. So. All right, I do stitch. You're not going to find too many videos if you go back and watch where I don't have a stitching with Housewives piece. When this came out, I can't remember when she put this out. See if it's got 2020. It was last year, actually. When she put this out last year, I had to have it because I have a family wall that has family pictures. I'm actually going to do it twice. I'm going to do it in this traditional colorway for my immediate family, Steve and our 3 children, our blended family. And I'm going to do it again, and I don't know, in a different colorway that more represents the family I grew up in, my parents and my 2 sisters and brother. So this one is for Steve and I actually, oopsie, get some threads out of there. Actually got some more work on the F, and it is outlined, and it's in a very, very beautiful color. It's called Tropical Paradise. I'm using the DMC, which is 3766. But I got all the, I think I was already only at the top of the F last. But I put a little bit of work into this. And then this is by Stitching with the Housewives, came out last year, and it's just, I just love it. I'll put a little bit closer. I don't know how I'm going to fully finish it when I put it on my wall. I'm going to have to get a drink. Well, I'm not going to reach over there. I'm not that far away from being done. All right, so that was just a whip that I had, was not a start. This one is probably going to be a finish, maybe by the next time I see you, because I am so close. Again, I cannot believe I did not bring my board in here. You know, it's not like I've been doing these a while. Just put it behind this. This is His Eyes on the Sparrow by Sweet Wing Studio. You'll know I'm doing a hymn wall with a lot of my favorite hymns. Definitely with all that's been going on in the world, this hymn's meant a lot to me. I actually started this because some things were going on, and I just felt like I needed to. I think I started when I started feeling sick. So this is where I am. I am just stitching this on some 28 count. It's a gray silver even weave that I bought at Tudor Rose. And I am really close to finishing. I am not a fan of borders. I'll tell you that. And this is what I'm going to be working on today for my Sunday stitch. But I will tell you this. This border that Susan at Sweet Wing Studio has, it's easy. I actually like stitching this border. Most of the time borders are tedious, but no, I've actually enjoyed stitching the border. The bird and I, we've been having some difficulties because I didn't have the called for Classic Colorworks that is in this bird right here. And I had to go through a few things. This is DMC 645, and I think I'm going to stay with that. I have went through a couple of different colors and ripped them out, and I'm just going to stay with this one. So I started working on the bird and working on the border since I saw you last. I've actually put a lot of work into this one. So this is probably, I have so many old whips probably, and I don't like to UFO things. I don't know why. And I probably should have UFO'd this, but I just won't. I think I started this 10 years ago. The magazine is I think it's a 2000 magazine. Hold on one second. It's a Leisure Arts magazine, if that tells you anything. They haven't made those. This is a 25-year-old magazine. This is Name Above Every Name. It has all the names has some names known for God and Jesus. I love those colors. I love the way it was finished. The thing is, back then I wasn't stitching on linen. And I was stitching, I just always, if you were to see all the stuff I stitched before I started stitching on linen, you would know that it is a lot of oatmeal, 18 count or 14 count. This is 14 count oatmeal. And I worked on this a little bit, got over and did the word Father and got the G in. So our pastor is preaching a sermon on names of God. So I thought, well, this is pretty perfect to pick this up, just maybe push this through and get it out. So I have a rotation of Sunday stitches right now. 2 of them I have not started yet, but they will go into a Sunday stitches rotation. And then there's His Eyes on the Sparrow. I really feel like that's going to be done pretty soon. So my last project, I think I got them all. Wow. My last project, I'm not really doing Jolly July. I try to work Christmas in every Monday. That's something Priscilla started too, kind of like a Merry Monday. So for this Monday, I started my 2000, I worked on my 2000 Prairie Schooler Santa. 2000, not 2020, is when my son was born. So I just worked on that. I did not stitch I was really tired this past week. So I stitched on that Monday night, started working on his coat. This is really cute. I have tons of these. I'm working on them all in the years that our children were born, and started with my son and then doing when my other children were born. So that's my stitching for the past 2 weeks. Sorry, hit that table again. My knees are big and the table is small. So we had a giveaway. I didn't have a lot of comments. Hey, I don't really do this for comments or subscribers, even though I appreciate y'all. And I would love it. Yeah, it would be great to have thousands of subscribers and lots of comments. But I really enjoy talking to y'all. I really enjoy the interaction. I enjoy the friendships I've made over the years. But I had one great comment. I had a giveaway. This is for the For Freedom cowl. Sarah and Sarah Stitches and I both stitched this. I showed you my finish last week. I probably should have brought it in here. It's on my wall in our dining room right now. So the Okie Stitcher, you had a really great comment about, and you used the word cowl. So send me your address. I will link my email below and I'll get this out in the mail to you. So I'm not going to have a giveaway this week. Honestly, with my nephew being here, we did a lot of things and I didn't really have time to pull something together. I did get to stitch. In fact, I stitched this while he was here because I had already started it. And it was just something really easy. I do love this. And again, this is from Primrose Cottage Stitches. I do a lot of their stuff. And the theme of this year's camp was your favorite designer. And it was a toss-up between Cherry Hill Stitchery, Stitching with the Housewives, and Primrose. But this was going to be smaller. So haven't decided my August camp project yet. That is, and I'll link the Cross Stitch Camp group. You have to down below. It has something you've never done before. I don't know what that's going to be that I can get done in a month. So we will see. All right. So that is it. And I managed to do this in 22 minutes. I told Steve, I said, I don't think it's going to be very long. I said, I just have 10 projects. I kind of talk fast through them. And I really try not to talk a lot about personal life, but we've just had so much going on. Again, prayers for Priscilla, Blaine, and her family. And I will update you when I have my CT scan, and I will have tons of stitching because as soon as I clean up this room, I plan on sitting down and stitching for the rest of my Sunday. I hope you guys have a great 2 weeks, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.